So this webinar is about what WeChat is and how powerful it is, and as a brand, how can you leverage WeChat? We are going to take a very deep look into how WeChat is functioning and how we can better leverage it. Before we dive into WeChat, I'd like to mention the big difference between the UK digital world and the China digital world. The first big difference is the landscape. So in terms of digital landscape, because of the existence of the firewall, there are a whole set of different platforms that we use in China compared to what we have here in the UK and in the West. So compared to Google, we have Baidu. Compared to Facebook, we have WeChat. And WeChat is not just a social network now, so it's not just Facebook, it's more powerful than Facebook, and you will find out later. The same rule applies to all the rest of the websites and all the rest of the platforms, which covers every perspective of your life. So social in China is dominated by two platforms, which is WeChat and Weibo. Weibo is owned by Sina, and WeChat is owned by Tencent. So basically, Weibo is like Twitter in China, where it is open. The way it talks is from one to many. A lot of celebrities use Weibo as the channel to talk to their followers. So basically, it's similar as Twitter. 40% of the total users are currently alive, and the monthly user is monthly active users is around 411 million. For WeChat, it's a different game. It's a more closed circle, so it's very different when you do marketing on Weibo and on WeChat. So it's more intimate, it's more one-to-one, it's an instant messaging app, but more than that. So currently it has more than 1.1 billion active users, and it's still growing. Considering the total population of China is around 1.2 billion, 1.1 billion means almost everyone has a WeChat, be it like a little child around 7 to 8 years old or 80 to 90 years old. And their daily daily active user is 9 million. And mostly people open their WeChat app 3 or even like 18 times a day. And 58% users use both Weibo and WeChat. So Weibo is more for information and WeChat is more for communication and following up with friends. So after having a look at the difference between WeChat and Weibo, now let's talk about WeChat, the super app in China. Why is it called the super app in China? Because it combines a lot of things that we have here in the UK and a lot of things that we don't even have an app for here. So it combines instant messaging, and when you go to WeChat, you can also find the relevant knowledge and information there. It also combines e-commerce. Basically, it has WeShop, so basically you can open a shop or you can buy things directly from it. It's also a networking app, and people with different interests go on it as well, and also online gaming, multimedia, entertainment, and also newsfeed. And there are more than that. So just imagine an app that you can never get away from. Basically, it's an always-on app. The first thing that Chinese people wake up in the morning is to check their WeChat to see if there's any instant messaging, to see if there's moments update from their friends, and to read news, and even sometimes to call a taxi. So that's WeChat. So having the general idea of how WeChat works and how powerful it is, I'm going to talk about the 3 different types of WeChat apps, or 3 different types of how you can use WeChat. So the first one is WeChat personal account. It's similar as Facebook and WhatsApp, where you have your personal account and then you can have your friends and then you talk to them. And then it's WeChat official account, where it's owned by a brand or by an individual who have different followers, and then you can broadcasting your content to your followers. But remember, although it's one to many, but it's quite close compared to what is what it is on Weibo. People can only see a WeChat article by searching for it or by reading it through their moments shared by their friends or from the accounts that they follow immediately. Not like Weibo where you use hashtag and then people can find you. WeChat, and then last one is WeChat mini program, which I launched in 2017 or 2016, and now it's becoming more and more powerful now. So let's talk about the personal account first. Firstly, the most important function of personal WeChat account is still a messaging app, so messaging app. It has voice chat, so a lot of people use it, and also it has a very unique function which is called sticker gallery or emoji gallery, which is a very trendy way of talking to each other in China. I have friends who can talk to each other only using stickers for even half an hour. And also group chat is also a very interesting function that you can leverage when you do business with China. Specifically on the WeChat group chat, Chinese people, when we adopt the habit of networking, we adopt in a very digital way. So here on the left-hand side is the reasons to join a group chat of more than 100 people. So the first one is corporate internal communications, so work related. And second one is also work related, which is professional networking. So it is very important for you to have a WeChat account if you want to do business with China. WeChat, like one of the many tools in China, has already combined the personal life and the business life of people, of everyone in China. So when you go to China, when you have your contacts, ask them if they are in certain professional groups, then ask them to basically invite you to those groups. Within those groups, they are your target. Right-hand side is a group that I'm in, which is called British Entrepreneurs in Beijing. So basically, this lady here is trying to look for publicists and PR experts in China. So it's a tool for you, it's a group chat for you to freely advertise your brand and for you to talk to the relevant or target audiences. That's on messaging. And the second most important function is what we have as Facebook posts. In China, on WeChat, we have WeChat Moment. On WeChat Moment, it's like a Facebook post flow where you can see all your friends' updates. On the left-hand side, you may notice the example that I found here is actually a WeChat advertisement from BMW and Coca-Cola. This was a special advertisement way that WeChat introduced in 2014. Or 2013. What they did was, and what they are actually doing now is still, you can, when you invest in this type of advertisement, you can appear naturally in their Facebook or in their WeChat Moment flow, and you can literally pretend that you are one of their friends. But WeChat is very strict on the content and on the brand level of this type of advertisement because people considering it's somehow a little bit interruptive compared to the paid ads on Facebook. And on the right-hand side is a new function that WeChat has introduced, which is called Top Stories. What is Top Stories and what? It's basically if you read an article and if you really like it, you click on what or click on like, your friends are now able to see it. And another function, which is WeChat Pay and on the left-hand side is one of the stores that from our partners. They are a bag producer and they have a WeChat service account. And in that way, they are able to set up their WeChat store and they can sell directly to their followers and to their consumers. On the right-hand side is just to say how WeChat Pay, together with Alipay and UnionPay now, are leading the revolution of payment way of payments in China. So currently 70% of smartphone users in China use the phone to pay for goods and services at a point of sale in 2017. It's very easy for you to go to China if you have a cell phone, and if you forget to bring your wallet, you can survive for I think 1 month. But if you are going there without a cell phone and with only cash, it will be becoming difficult for you. And as I mentioned, Alipay, WeChat, and UnionPay lead the way in terms of mobile payments. And as a result of the revolution of the way of payment, 40% of consumers carry less than 100 RMB in cash. So this means that in countries, it also impacts the popularity of the new payment way. So to the extreme level, even street performer in China now are using WeChat Pay. So basically, they don't accept cash anymore. Some of them will even have a QR code for you to scan to give them the payment. And that's all about personal account. What's more interesting will be on the official account. So to start, there are two types of different WeChat official accounts. On the left-hand side is a service account. On the right-hand side is a subscription account. And you can see on the service account, it appears directly in your chat flow. But on for the subscription accounts, it will fall into a folder of subscription accounts. So it's one more step compared to what you have on the service account. And the key differences between service accounts and subscription accounts. The first one is subscription accounts are less visible and can send one message per day or one post per day. So as I just mentioned, it's less visible because it's in the folder of subscription accounts, not directly in the chat flow. And in terms of the frequency and the amount of articles that you can post, service accounts are more visible and can send 4 messages per month. So if you are a service account owner, you can send less or fewer messages or fewer posts, fewer articles compared to subscription account. So in a way, that subscription accounts are more for content-driven businesses. So if you are really highly content-driven, you are in a newsfeed or you are a publicity. So one of our clients is an art gallery, and they really do want to have more visibility. So we help them to get a subscription account before. And service accounts are for companies aiming at providing a wider set of services through WeChat, so including customer service, e-commerce, games, menus, or other interactive feature. Content can be provided, but it won't be the core service that you are going after. So the inquiries that we got a lot is how to register an overseas account, how to have an account or official account as an overseas company which doesn't have the license in China. So before, there was one way to go around this, which is to register through a Chinese third party. So the account will be owned by the third party, but under your company's brand name. We wouldn't suggest it this way. Firstly, it's really high risk. So because the account is owned by the third party, when it goes, for example, bankrupt, it's not almost impossible for you to rescue your account from it. And because it's owned by a third party, you can't actually get any money from it. So then you can't have your WeChat store, you can't have any payment function, which is painful. Also, when you have the third-party account and then if you want to transfer your followers to the new account, new service account, that's not possible. So, and that's the first reason, which is high risk. The second reason is currently WeChat only allows one company, one business company to have 2 accounts. So that means it's very difficult to find any company who is willing to open that account for you. But WeChat has when they close one door, they open another door. The other way is to register an overseas account. So this account will be owned by the company, and it's verified and has more functions, but this is service account only. So you can only have 4 articles per month, which should be enough for most of the brands. And when you register an overseas account, you have to go through a verified agency, and we can actually help you with that. And the whole process will take 1 week to sometimes 1 month. So after you have the account, there are basic setups needs to be done. The first one will be the menus. WeChat user-defined menu works much like a mobile app, except that it works only inside WeChat. When a user enters an official account, a mini menu will pop up, and setting up a WeChat menu can enable users to easily access content about your company or articles you want to share with your customers. So setting up a menu used to require some technical skills, but now it's much easier, and so it's very intuitive. And the second one is the welcome message and the auto reply. So the first thing that you can do once you have set up your WeChat admin platform is to set up a welcome message for your new followers. And for the auto reply, so basically it's it's triggered by keywords. So basically you can ask and in your welcome message that the followers will and they can basically enter different keywords, and you can set up automatic reply to engage with them. And the third one will be the content post. So basically you can the key target of having a WeChat official account is to post content. So at Crayfish, we have multiple different freelancers working in different industries who can help with your content post. And when you do content posts, it's very important that you design it in a very engaging way. On WeChat, there are 2 different ways. One is if you know well HTML or CSS, you can use that code to actually help you to define the format. But if you don't know much about it and you want to do the content post yourself, you can leverage third-party channels like Xiaomi, where you can use templates to do the design, and then you can leverage it when you go back to your WeChat account platform. And the fourth one will be user management, which is also a very, very important feature for WeChat. So when you do user management, the message that, not the message, the profile, the information that you can get access to is their name, remarks, their user profile, their and your follower list, user locations, and their profile, their web and network status. So these are the information for each of your followers that you can get. So this can help you to better categorize your followers and target them accordingly in the future. And the fifth function that you can use is data statistics, so analytical tool. WeChat analytics are an essential tool to make sure that your WeChat investment brings real value to your brand in terms of visibility, traffic, and sales. So what does it mean for WeChat analytics? So it delivers a lot of statistics about the performance of your WeChat account, including number of views, resharings, information about your followers, their gender, location, devices that you use, and they may the way that the followers found your account through search or through the moments, and you can do even much more. And the last one will be the advertisements on WeChat. As mentioned, there are 2 to 3 different ways to do advertisements. One is the display ads, as what we have here on Facebook, and the other one is the moments. And sometimes you can even do campaigns with KOLs, so key opinion leaders. That's another way of doing advertisements on WeChat. For this, if you are interested, you can send an email to us, and then we can let you know more about how to do advertisement on WeChat. One way that I would like to point out that is not very cheap to do advertisements on WeChat. So you have to be really clear that who your target audience is and how that you can actually leverage the WeChat original content or the powerful key opinion leaders. Otherwise, it's really suited for big brands. For small brands, you have to be careful about your strategy when you go into advertisement on WeChat. So there's a new trend how people are actually combining the personal accounts and WeChat official accounts. So brands start to build their own community to engage with its followers. Remember that I spoke about the group chat in the personal WeChat account and the official account function in the official account. So what currently our brands are doing now is they are asking their followers to join a group chat that they host together for their hardcore fans. So for example, Netitude as the early players, they are a hair brand in China. What they do is they have multiple groups of followers, and they share their skincare tips, recruit new users through free trial, and they also push them to buy directly from the group chat. And also P&G started to build the WeChat community early this month to recruit active influencers as well. So it's just a new trend that you can consider once you have the followers, because it's actually more engaging compared to just a one-to-many, one-way communication, not two-way communications. And WeChat search now presents an ideal search marketing opportunity. Before, WeChat is much more closed than it currently is. What it means that for us now is WeChat is now opening up for more and more functions. Search is the key function that they are trying to push this year. So when you do search on WeChat, it won't be just the public account or the mini programs that owned by WeChat. You can also search for Q&A answers on Zhihu platform, and you can also search for products through e-commerce. So it's becoming more and more powerful. So SEO on WeChat, you should also consider that when you are actually doing the content writing. So the last topic that I would like to talk about today is WeChat mini program. WeChat mini program is a leading playground for social marketing now. After it was introduced by Tencent, currently we already have more than 1 million mini programs, and the estimate is by the end of 2018, it already was there already were 2.5 million mini programs there. It was even more than the apps on the Apple Store, and that was accumulated through 10 years. And WeChat apps from 1 million to 2.5 million was only within 1 year. And it has more than 400 million users, 37% penetration of WeChat users, and it has more than 280 million daily active users. And people use it more and more often and for longer time. So this data here is still saying 7.5 minutes per day, and the data now has already become 18 minutes per day. So what do you do with WeChat mini program? Essentially, it's an app that you don't have to download. You can open directly within WeChat. So these are the top functions that people are using for WeChat mini program. Transportation, so people use it for navigation. People also use it to book a taxi or to call a Uber. And games, e-commerce, news, domestic services. So people use this to actually order nail polish or house cleaning service directly. And also videos, booking tickets for travel, and tools that you use, and also social. This is a Chinese chart, but I've marked the most two important things here. So these are the most popular apps within the WeChat mini programs. The blue bar is the number of the visitors. The green bar is the number of the mini programs. So the most popular app is games, and the second one will be e-commerce. And the third one is actually content. And the fourth one is tool. So basically, if you can think of anything that you can use mini program to create within these 4 areas, you will have huge chance to get exposure to your target audiences. Here are just several examples how WeChat mini program is used. So it's ready to use, it's easy to go. People use group buying, shopping on it. Brands use it to do campaigns, and also services. Mobag is a sharing bag here, and it's offering basic bag sharing service. Alright. Offering seasonal gifting cards and offer, and also Tencent has introduced the mini program game designed by Tencent, which has more than 900 million users and is #1 mini program in WeChat. Nike is actually cooperating with them together to leverage the power of the mini program. So when you think about mini program, it's not just how you can create a mini program. It's also that if you can find one really popular mini program as a brand, you can cooperate with them directly. And also, as I mentioned, WeChat program is also a very useful tool to build a community for sharing experiences. There is a very hot trend in WeChat mini program as well, which is to digitalize the physical stores, or what we call it the offline to online. So foods ordering offline to avoid queuing, McDonald's use it, and you can also scan and go, and also this can act as your membership card. Costa is using it already in China. To summarize what I have presented today, WeChat is the super app in China. The thing that I've covered most of the key bullet points here, from official accounts to mini program to WeChat payment to stickers to the online connects to offline through WeChat mini programs. The only thing that I didn't cover is the QR codes. So QR code can act as a very powerful tool for you to attract traffic from offline store to your online WeChat platform, and also it can act a very useful tool from online to online as well. So a lot of websites are putting up QR codes on their official website where people can scan directly and follow their WeChat account. QR codes are a very, very powerful tool, as I just mentioned, and also Chinese consumers are trained already. Once we saw a code, we scan automatically without any hesitation. So utilize it smartly can help you to harmonize the rest of the 5 bullet points that I mentioned here. So that's all from me for today. I'm going to hand back over to Ting now.
Thank you, Jiao. I hope you have found the presentation helpful. Before we take questions, I would like to just quickly tell you a bit more about how Crayfish can help you with your business in China. We do provide a full list of services that help you deal with the challenges and daily operations with China. So starting from strategy to planning, but all aspects of operations. We do that by bringing in Chinese-speaking professionals and expertise from across the markets to where you operate. And specifically on digital marketing, we have various services at different cost levels to suit your budget and your particular requirements at that stage of your business with China. So now I'd like to just tell you more about our upcoming webinars. You can get all the details on our website at our events page, but I would like to draw your attention, special attention to next week's speaker, and it is on unicorn or dragon. It's a very interesting topic, and the speaker is called Bo Ji. He's quite well known in the Chinese business academic area, particularly on the cultural, cross-cultural differences of growing those companies in other parts of the world and China. Very inspirational talk. So on that note, we will now take questions. So we've got one here. What is the main challenge when marketing on WeChat?
I would say there are two biggest challenges when you do marketing on WeChat. The first one is how to, as I mentioned, WeChat is very closed social circle, and it's very difficult for people to find your content proactively. So how to create the most attractive content is very important for your brand and for your account. And to understand who your target audience is also the most important thing as well. The second biggest challenge is also related to the closed circle, because there are more than 2 million official accounts on WeChat now, and people's attention span is becoming shorter and shorter. So it will be very difficult for you as a brand to attract more users. So you have to leverage your content, and also you have to use KOL or your partners smartly when you do WeChat marketing.
Okay, another question. How long does it take to register an official WeChat account?
Okay, so as a foreign company, you can register through the overseas account application process, as I mentioned. The process before, it took around 2 to 3 months, but recently WeChat has reduced the length. It will take you around 1 week, sometimes to 1 month. So it's much more convenient and much more quicker than compared to what we had before. So that's good news to us.